Beautiful three sisters. Sing to the birds. Two, but we're just going to wait a few minutes to get the okay to start. We're starting, just hold on a few minutes and we'll see if we can get more people to join. There's a way right there.
Is there?
Yeah, don't look. I'll show you later.
All right.
Yeah, we can actually show the camera.
Can we?
I don't want to get too distracted. Well, it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
All right.
It's set up.
You're ready.
All right, guys. Hopefully you're joining in right now from all over the country, all over the world. We'll wait a few minutes, take a few minutes for more people to join on. It's just now 2 o'clock here in beautiful Crystal River. Hope everybody is doing great today. We're really excited to be here with you live. So we'll just take a few minutes, soak in the beautiful scenery. You can actually hear some birds chirping right now. We have beautiful fish that are swimming around right behind us in the springs. So we're at a really, really special place right now. So we'll wait another minute and see if we can get some more people on, and then we'll get started. Thanks for joining us. We're so glad you guys could join us today. If you want to write in the comments where you're joining from, that'd be awesome as well. So once again, we're here at beautiful Crystal River, Florida. We're just waiting a few minutes for people to join in. Here you can see our location at Three Sisters Springs. That's the entrance right there. And then we'll get a nice aerial of the property. It's about 57 acres. We have a 1 acre spring behind us. We're gonna see if we get the go ahead and we'll get started. Yeah. All right, we're ready. So hi everyone, my name is Monica Milberg. I'm a visitor service specialist at the Crystal River National Wildlife Refuge. I'm joined by my amazing coworker today.
Hi, I'm Manatees. I'm a visitor specialist support member. I'm actually an intern for the Refuge.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us today from wherever you are. We're here in the sunny Crystal River, Florida. We're at the Three Sisters Springs, which is part of the Crystal River National Wildlife Refuge. We're encompassed under the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which is this beautiful patch I'm wearing right here. This will be a live event, so you can answer or ask questions and put them in the comments, and we'll do our best and answer them. But I'm going to talk about the springs really quick. So we are here facing Pretty Sister. This is a crucial manatee habitat in the winter, starting November 15th, which already passed, through March 31st. This area right here, this side lobe, is a manatee sanctuary. If you can see that one sign over there, there's a buoy that goes across, and that's a sanctuary only for manatees. Right now, swimmers can come in, but we periodically do close it. It's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That's year round. In the winter, it stays the same temperature. Manatees cannot survive in temperatures that are below 68 degrees. Really 62 is when they'll start heading to the springs. So right now we don't have any manatees behind us, unfortunately. They're out in the Gulf, but hopefully they'll be moving in when it gets cooler. We have these beautiful sanctuaries ready for them to come and hang out at. So as we go through, ask questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah, totally. So I hope you're ready to learn a lot about manatees today. And we actually are going to start with surface breathing. So like us, we are mammals, and manatees are mammals too. So they actually need air to breathe. And in this video that you're seeing right now, there's actually, if you notice closely, a manatee that's coming up to the surface. And you may be asking, what is it doing? Well, it's breathing. This video I love, and I want to show you actually the kind of noise effect they do when they breathe. So it's just gonna come up and they do like a
nice.
So if you're out in the water, you want to be very, with your ears very open, your eyes open, because if you hear that, probably there's a manatee very close to you. When they do this every 3 to 5 minutes. And when they inhale, they can replace 90% of their air. When we do that, we can only replace 10%. So that's really low compared to these amazing creatures.
Their lungs are almost 3 feet long, so they can take in a lot of oxygen, which allows them to hold their breath for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Did you say that they can actually hold their breath up to 20 minutes? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, when they're resting, they can like hold their breath up from 15 to 20 minutes. And that's a long time underwater without taking a breath. So yeah.
When they're swimming, they actually hold their breath for up to 5 minutes, every 3 to 5 minutes. That's because they're moving, they are needing more oxygen, so they'll come up more often. So here we have a little manatee and 3 sisters also.
Yeah, this is a mom and a calf, and the mom is taking a big breath. And the baby, which is called a calf, is gonna come up for a breath too.
And look at that little manatee in the background right there. I should say big, I think that's its mother.
Yeah.
So you can see its lips doing kind of a funny thing. This is a unique behavior this manatee is showing us right now. But you can actually see that's its prehensile lip. It's just open right now, so it looks funny. But usually what they'll do is they'll close it. And in this next shot, we'll get to see a manatee using their prehensile lip eating some fern. So let's see if we can see that. Or do we have any questions in the comments so far?
I'm not getting any yet.
Okay, so right here we have a manatee that is munching on some fern. And what it's doing is it's using its prehensile lip. So you can think of it as like basically its third hand, where it will grab grass, or in this case fern, it will put it into its mouth. And it will go all the way to the back of its mouth where its molars are. So manatees eat an average of 10% of their body weight. For an average manatee is around 1,200 pounds. That's 1,200 pounds. They will eat 10%. So any guesses on how much? Can you guys do math at home? That's around 120 pounds of food a day. So a lot of the vegetation they're eating is very low in calories compared to us. Like say if we eat a Snickers bar, we'll be good for an hour. But manatees, they'll actually have to eat for up to 8 hours a day, pretty much the whole day, to be able to sustain their massive bodies. Just pretty awesome. And then, so just so you guys know, I don't know if you know what the closest living relative land animal to the manatee is. Any guesses? Can you write it in the comments? Who do you think is related to the manatee? Well, if you guess elephant, you are correct. I know it's a very confusing, interesting one, but elephants, like manatees, have a lot of similarities. One is those long trunks on the elephant actually are prehensile. So same with the manatee's snout. They can grab things with their snout. And then other things like they have hair all over their bodies. In some of these shots, you'll be able to see their nails. They're similar to manatees in that fact. And Madaris will talk about a few other similarities as well.
Oh yeah, they actually, when they nurse their calves, it's on the same area that the manatee does. So like around the armpit, they have their tits, and that's how they nurse their calves. And yeah, you talked about the trunk and also the nails. So yeah, manatees also have hair. If you don't know, I think it's really visible here in this video. And then they have algae on their backs. That's totally normal. It's going to grow on them. And actually, when they come from the Gulf, they can have barnacles too. And they're sea creatures, basically saltwater creatures, the barnacles that they will have on their backs. And when they're on these fresh waters, those barnacles will fall off eventually. Which is really cool.
Yeah. And you can see they also have a special hair on their snout called the brissae. That's different from the hairs on their body. They're a lot harder, and they use them to sense things as well. They are connected to all these nerve endings, which is really awesome.
Yeah, because manatees actually don't have good eyesight. So,
have one from Izzy. Why do they eat so much if they don't do much all day?
That is a really great question, Izzy. Why do manatees eat so much if they don't do much? They actually do a lot compared to what we do. They have to, well, first of all, let's think of it this way. Manatees have to come to these warm water springs to survive when it's cold. We can just put on a jacket and be warm, but manatees can't do that. So they'll have to swim a really long ways. Sometimes they're out in the Gulf of Mexico. We're on the west coast of Florida. We're about an hour north of Tampa. So our manatees are about 6 miles from this area. So that's a lot of swimming for them. And the other thing is, when people see manatees, you kind of think they're a big fat animal, but they're really not. They have a thick layer of skin and then a really thin layer of fat or blubber. So it doesn't really protect them from the cold. And unlike whales, where whales, they have a really thick layer of blubber, right? So the manatees will have to come into these areas. That's why it's so crucial. But it takes about a week for them to digest their food from the moment they eat it, and it goes through their intestines and it will come out the other end. So yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks.
That's great.
All right, we've got another one from Michelle Barnes. How come the lettuce feeding isn't successful? Or like, I guess, how come you can't feed them lettuce? I think they mean. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they must be talking about the unusual mortality event. That's actually happening on the east coast of Florida. We are on the west coast of Florida, and our manatee population is actually thriving. Our biologist did a survey in January of 2022, and she counted 1,333 manatees in this area, which was actually a record compared to the last time. But a good thing to know is we do not want to feed manatees lettuce or anything we think they would like, because we don't want to do something that's called habituate them. We don't want them to get a bad habit, just like if you fed an alligator or fish. We want to keep them wild, and plus they don't really like it. They like to eat their grass and other things. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Actually, when people rescue manatees and they take them to rehabilitate them and they have to feed them lettuce, it takes time for them to be like, hey, this is food, let me taste it. So they're not used to that kind of food.
Yeah. And another thing is, you don't want to give them water. I know sometimes they're attracted to your boats, but they will find water on their own. They're really smart. They learn from their mothers at a really young age. Actually, if we go to the shot of the mother and the calf, let's talk a little bit more about their gestation period and their life cycle.
And then just to let chat know, we put the FWC site in the chat, so the link should be there.
Great, thank you guys. Yeah, so check that out if you have more questions on that.
So let's talk about parenting. Basically, manatees have a gestation period of 13 months. We humans only have 9 months. So you can imagine having a baby for like a year and a little bit more. That's a lot of time. Actually, when they're born, moms show the calf how to take a breath of air, where to look for warm water, where to look for food. Oh my god, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Actually, baby manatees can be this big when they're born, and they can weigh up to 60 pounds. So they are
That's
heavy,
60.
heavy.
40 to 60.
It's like
the size of a fourth grader.
oh my god.
Any fourth graders out there?
But yeah, this one actually that's showing up is a premature baby, so that's why it looks so small. But yeah, they can be very heavy babies. And yeah, this video you can see a mom nursing. They actually stay with their mothers for quite some time, but I think you're gonna talk about that soon.
Yeah. This is an awesome one. The mom is actually sleeping at the bottom of most likely Three Sister Springs right here. And the baby is nursing constantly, and the mom will actually go up, get a breath of air. The baby would take a breath, and they won't wake up. They'll continue doing what they're doing, which is really incredible. Here we can see a manatee swimming around and nursing at the same time. When they're young, manatees stay with their mothers for up to 2 years, and that's for a lot of important things, like showing them where to find the warm water habitats, showing them where the best feeding grounds are, showing them how to stay out of the channel and stick to the sides, which is really, really important for manatees to have that.
Another very cool thing is that manatees can actually have 2 calves, and that could be either of these situations. One, that it's not very common.
Very rare.
It's really super rare. Like, it's like very rare for manatees to have twins. But that's a possible, situation, but not super, super common. The other one is that manatees, which is this really cute thing, they adopt orphan manatees. Yes, you heard me right. That's so cute. And you can even see a mom just kind of like swimming and having 2 calves on each of her tits. And they're nursing, and it's just 2 moms with 2 babies. And it's so cute to see. So yeah, that's really cute. Actually, this could look like very young manatees over here. Just having a swim.
They're really playful. Every now and then when we have a really cold day, we have a lot of manatees in here. You hear their breaths, and they start moving around. They do something called a barrel roll. They'll turn all the way around. So it's really special. Got a question?
Yeah, we've got one from Sarah Perrin. What type of predators do manatees have in the wild?
That's a great question. Actually, not very many natural predators. I actually have a picture of a manatee, an alligator, and a turtle all in one picture. We have a picture too of a manatee in Three Sisters with a turtle resting on its back, which is pretty cool. They don't have many natural predators. However, they are every now and then hit by boats. A large percentage of manatees will have scars on their backs, and that's from boat strikes. Another thing is sometimes they get hit by boats, and that's from, you don't see scars, but it's actually called blunt force trauma, and that's where it hits the manatee, and unfortunately sometimes they don't make it. Fortunately, a lot of times they do make it. They, like I said before, they have that thick skin. They're really amazing creatures that they're able to heal.
Another thing actually is that, like other aquatic animals, they will swallow plastics if there's a lot of plastics around, or fish hooks or things like that, and they can get really bad damage from that, or even die from that.
Entangled in crab traps. Sometimes they get their flippers stuck, and they actually sometimes will survive, and they'll just have a big scar there. Sometimes they have to amputate them. It really depends. We have another question?
Yeah, we've got a couple more. One from Gail Gordon. I hadn't thought of them needing to drink fresh water. How does that work?
Yeah, so they're mammals just like us. So they do, they try to find different types of habitats where water is maybe flowing off the land into a river. All of Three Sister Springs is fresh water, so this is another place they'll drink. They also get water from the food that they eat. They don't have to, they can live in the ocean for many, many days at a time without having fresh water. But that's a really good question.
Yeah. If you think of it, basically they come to fresh water for like warmth too. So even though they drink the fresh water, the main reason they're here is for the warmth.
Darwin from Crystal River says, how fast do they swim? Are they as fast as a dolphin? Or what's their kind of speed relative to a dolphin?
Yeah, so they can swim up to 15 miles per hour in short bursts, which is really fast. I don't know if I can run that fast. So they don't do that for long distance. It's usually short spurts. But I would say dolphins, I don't know. Do you know how fast dolphins swim?
I don't know.
Dolphins are pretty quick.
Yeah, they are. And dolphins, they're mammals that swim long distances, where manatees are, like we said before, they're sea cows, so they're eating grass all day long, munching along. So it takes a lot of time to do that, where they don't need to swim like dolphins, but they can do quick bursts for sure.
Yeah. Izzy again asks, are manatees affectionate, or like what's their social structure like?
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to cover it?
I can say something about that. They can be very curious about things. If you're wearing something very bright under the water, they can come and be like, what's that? But actually, baby manatees can be the most curious of them all. They're learning their surroundings. So if a manatee is approaching you, probably it's a baby, but adults can do that too, especially when you're wearing coloring stuff or something.
Yeah, and for pods and what we call aggregations, which is when we have a group of manatees, so they'll actually move together, but it's because they're trying to find the warm waters. The mother and the calf, that bond will stay together for up to 2 years, like we talked about. And then there are also mating herds where one female would attract a few males and they move together. But one thing I do want to mention is manatee manners. If you haven't heard of manatee manners, you'll need to check out a YouTube video. I think we'll put the link in the description for that. And it talks about the 12 prohibitions of interacting when you're in the water with manatees. The most important thing that I want you guys to take out of this is manatees are wild animals. We want to give them plenty of space when we're in the water with them, or when we're on the boat. So one of the best advice I can give you is freeze and float at the surface. If you have a manatee that approaches you, try to stay as calm as you can. Act like a manatee. Just breathe there at the surface. Watch them from a distance. They're beautiful, gentle giants. They'll move really slow around you. And watch the video. It goes into the prohibitions a little more, but definitely, like we talked about, don't separate the mom and the calf. Don't ever approach a manatee that's eating or resting. Make sure you give them plenty of space. They are especially in the area behind us, for their survival. And it's really important that we protect the species for all the generations to come, people and manatees.
And then Shannon Johnson pretty much asked about what you had talked about. I've heard it's illegal for people to interact with them.
So
still probably like touching them.
So what the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service really wants everyone to understand is they're wild animals. We want to passively observe them. We want to observe them from a distance. We don't want to change their behaviors. If a manatee does come up to you, sometimes it's hard to, not touch it. But we don't want you to approach a manatee and try to interact with it. Once again, if the manatee comes to you, it's hard not to. But yeah, so the most important thing is we want to keep them wild. Like, we see these beautiful manatees here. They're all resting right at Three Sister Springs behind us. So they'll need to do that for a couple hours a day when it's cold out.
And then user Snowy Owl says, what is the worldwide range of manatees? And I have that written down here, so I'll just list that off real quick. Today's manatees are found in the southeastern U.S., eastern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Brazil, Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas.
Thank you, Aiden.
Yeah. And then Izzy asks again, do they like to play with each other? Are they playful?
Good question, Izzy. They are very playful. I think they're just really curious creatures. I'm not a manatee, so I don't know the exact answer. We'll have to ask them. But no, I think they are, you know, they like to roll around. They like to rub on things. When they get barnacles, like we were talking about when they're out in the salt water, the barnacles will grow on them and they'll actually fall off. And I did bring one of those barnacles with us today, so I can show you. If you don't know what a barnacle is, that is what it looks like. This actually fell off a manatee. You can think of it as kind of like a scab. They'll heal over and the manatee will be okay. And then the next season they'll go on into the Gulf of Mexico again. More will grow on them. Next season they'll come back again. So it's a cycle. But I think we might need to start wrapping it up. I'm not sure about timing, but I do want to, unless you have another question.
I have one more question, and I just want to remind you to give special thanks to these people near the top there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Leanne Abel asks, we'll say one last time, if a manatee approaches you while you're swimming, what should you do? What's the best course of action?
Yeah, the best thing is to freeze and float at the surface. They will swim right up to you. I've been in the water and they'll come right up to your face. So definitely give them their space. Let them come to you. Don't go to them. Relax, stay calm. Try to have a snorkel and mask so you can just breathe slowly and relaxed. But really good question. And definitely watch Manatee Manners. But another thing I want to talk to you guys about is what you can do at home to help manatees. Right here, we're at Three Sister Springs, where all this water is coming from deep, deep below our feet from the Floridan aquifer. So if you're elsewhere in Florida and you want to, say, go outside and put fertilizer on your lawn, that's okay, as long as you follow the instructions that come with the fertilizer. Make sure you do it at a certain time. I'm going to go back and we'll talk more about that. But right here, we're seeing some manatees that are moving around in some dark water. Another thing you can do to help manatees is wear polarized sunglasses when you're on the boat. Make sure you have a manatee lookout up front, watching for their footprint. A manatee footprint is like if you take a rock and you skip it across a lake, you see these little prints, circles. Yeah. So that's what a manatee footprint is. It's an easy way to look out, and you can also hear their breath coming up to the surface, and go slow in the manatee speed zone. That's really important. I won't get into specifics there, but all of Kings Bay is a slow speed zone. Yes.
Do we have time for one last question?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Darwin Fredette says, why did they swim under me when I freeze and float without hitting me?
They know where their body is, I guess. Unlike me, I run into everything all the time. Yeah. So they do. They will swim under kayaks, under boats. If they want to get out of the way from people, they'll move away. I don't know about if they have, they have hair all over their body, which I bet they can use to feel. But they can see, they can hear, although it's not the best. They're able to maneuver. One thing they can't do is they can't turn their head. So they have 6 vertebrae in their neck. Unlike us, we have 7. So they only can turn just a little. They have to turn all the way around to see what's coming behind them. So I want to talk to you guys more about what you can do. Another thing is, so getting back to the aquifer, if you say you're brushing your teeth, turn off the water, take shorter showers. Another thing, teach your friends about what you learned today. We want to make sure that everybody is following, the best practices to keep their manatees environment safe and healthy. They do need clean water to survive. So yeah, anything you do, say you're watching this from New York or California. California is a little further, but Northern Georgia, what you do there affects what the manatees, what happens down here in Florida. Were you gonna?
And there were I have a couple of the pre-written questions that were just some things we didn't go over. How long do they sleep or nap? What do they sleep like? And do they ever eat plankton or small fish?
We actually don't have a very specific time of how much manatee can be sleeping or napping, but they can nap throughout the day many, many times, for short times, long times. And for the say fish or
do they ever eat plankton or small fish?
basically, a manatee is just going to go for the food that it wants, but it could get a fish stuck in the grass when it's eating and stuff like that, but that's going to be okay. But they will always go for that green, like grass or whatever that they see that's green on the water.
They're herbivores, right?
Yeah, they're herbivores.
Yeah. So guys, we're gonna have to start wrapping it up. I want to send a huge thank you to all of our videographers. We have David Schrichte, we have Jessi Owens, and Ryan Maier, who all gave us videos for this shoot. And then I want to thank Aiden, our cameraman. And then really, I want to thank is everybody that's watching at home. And then on top of that, I want to thank everybody in the studio who helped set this up. I know it was a long process of getting all the cameras and everything ready. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming and watching this live today. If there's any other type of animal you want to watch in the future, that's maybe another iconic National Wildlife Refuge animal, write those in the comments. Yeah. And thank you, Madaris, too, for being here. Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.